The Devil's Garden. The house on Blackroot Lane had stood empty for 37 years. First of all, before continue, subscribe my channel and press bell icon. Realtors called it a hidden gem. The locals had other names. The Grayson Place, the Withered Estate. The old-timers just called it the Cursed Garden and left it at that, quickly, like spitting out bad meat. Miles and Claire Denning didn't know any of that. They were from the city, New York, of course, chasing the lie of quiet countryside living. Miles had cashed out of tech early, the kind of man who golfed on weekdays and whitened his teeth for fun. Claire had been an editor before she decided her true calling was gardening. The house itself was a wreck, walls slouched like a drunkard, peeling wallpaper like blistered skin. But the land, 4 acres of snarled vines, knotted roots, and the skeletal remains of what might have once been a grand garden. Claire took one look and knew. "It just needs love," she said, plucking a black vine from her sleeve. It left a stain like ink. The first weeks were deceptively peaceful. Claire worked dawn to dusk, hacking through thorns, unearthing buried pathways, whispering to the earth like it might whisper back. She'd come inside with dirt under her nails, grinning. "It's like the garden wants to wake up." Miles barely looked up from his podcast setup. Then the garden began to change. Too fast. Vines regrew overnight, coiling like clenched fists. Flowers erupted out of season, black tulips in July, roses that bloomed with a sound like tearing flesh. The plants didn't just grow, they twisted. Not into spirals or knots, but into things that made Claire's breath hitch. Things that almost looked like... No. She blinked. Just roots. Just shadows. But that night, at the kitchen window, she watched the moonlight bleach the garden silver and said, "I think it's dreaming." Miles frowned. "What the hell does that mean?" She didn't answer. It got worse. There were sounds beneath the soil. Not animals. Not water. Something slow. Something wet. A rhythm like a heartbeat. Like breathing. Claire dug deeper. The earth was too soft. Too rich. Black as rot. Warm as flesh. "It's feeding them," she murmured, her voice thick, her fingers stained with something dark that wouldn't wash off. Then the storm came. Not rain, not wind. A shriek of lightning that split the garden's ancient oak in two. Afterward, Claire stood in the downpour, staring into the gash in the earth. Inside the tree's carcass, a hole. Deep, dark, waiting. She started digging at dawn. Chapter 1. The House on Blackroot Lane. The realtor's brochure called it a gardener's paradise. The locals called it the Grayson Place. The old woman at the diner had simply crossed herself when they mentioned the address. Claire Denning pressed her palms against the rusted gate, feeling the iron thrum beneath her fingers like a living thing. Beyond the overgrowth, the house sagged under the weight of decades, windows boarded like closed eyes, porch steps groaning under phantom footsteps. "It's perfect," she breathed. Miles adjusted his designer sunglasses. "It's a teardown." But Claire was already pushing through the brambles, their thorns catching her sweater, drawing beads of blood she didn't notice. The garden called to her. Chapter 2. First Bloom. The movers refused to enter the property after sundown. "Bad vibes," muttered the tattooed kid hauling their sofa. He pointed to the western hedges. "Your roses are growing wrong, lady." Claire laughed until she saw them. Crimson petals unfurled in perfect spirals. Clockwise, everyone. The stems pulsed as if breathing. When she touched one, the blossom twitched toward her finger like a dog nuzzling its master. That night, she dreamed of roots knitting through her ribs. Chapter 3. What the Earth Remembers. The town archives held yellowed newspapers. Local girl vanishes in Grayson Garden, 1923. 5 unexplained deaths linked to Blackroot property, 1947. Botanist found deceased, soil in lungs, 1971. The librarian's hands shook as she slammed the ledger shut. Some places aren't meant for living things. Outside, rain fell in thick sheets. Claire ran home, her home now, where Miles stood pale at the kitchen window. The hedges, he whispered. They'd grown 6 feet overnight, and they'd formed letters. Welcomehome. Chapter 4. The storm came screaming. Lightning split the ancient oak, revealing the hollow beneath, a wound in the world, exhaling air that smelled of turned soil and spoiled meat. Claire knelt, ear pressed to the darkness. Thump, thump, thump. A heartbeat. Her trowel bit into the earth. The soil bled black sap. Claire, stop! Miles grabbed her wrist. The roots around them trembled. She wrenched free with inhuman strength. It's singing to me. Chapter 5. The first feeding. Miles woke to an empty bed. Through the window he saw Claire dancing barefoot in the moonlight, her nightgown stained with earth. The plants moved with her, vines swaying like cobras, flowers opening and closing in rhythm. Then he saw the shovel, the fresh mound, the hand protruding from the dirt, fingers stiff in a rigor mortis. Mrs. Grayson needed company, Claire murmured, pressing a kiss to a blooming nightshade. Its petals peeled back to reveal rows of needle teeth. Miles vomited. The garden laughed in rustling leaves. Chapter 6. The harvest officer, Perez, responded to the wellness check. No one answered the door but the garden. The garden was radiant. Prize-winning roses dripped crimson dew. Pumpkins swelled to grotesque sizes, their flesh writhing with maggots that glittered like jewels. Then Perez saw the scarecrow. Miles' golf shirt fluttered in the breeze. His head lolled from a post, mouth sewn shut with thorny vines. His eyes, oh God, his eyes were blooming. Claire emerged from the cornstalks, skin green-veined from chlorophyll. Stay for dinner, she asked sweetly, offering an apple wormed through with black roots. The officer ran. Behind her, the split oak yawned wider. Something scratched from below. Chapter 7. Rebirth winter never came to Blackroot Lane. The new owners, a young couple from Boston, marveled at the December daffodils. The wife, a yoga instructor, knelt to inhale their scent. "Can you feel that?" she gasped. "It's like a heartbeat." The husband laughed, stepping on a patch of unusually warm soil. Beneath his shoe, something squirmed. Inside the house, the wallpaper peeled back to reveal veins. And deep below, in the cathedral of roots, Claire opened her new eyes, just as the first tulip of spring screamed.